Morning, guys. Here at Hope Café for breakfast, and it's a lovely ambience. They do vegan and Jain food, veg as well, normal vegetarian. So I've ordered myself a smoothie bowl. It's called a Love Smoothie Bowl, and a hot chocolate to go with that. So it's all outdoor seating, and they use cane furniture. It's very relaxed, nicely designed, I would say. They've used the space and created partitions, although it's got a fluid vibe to it. Every part is interconnected and it makes the overall area a bit accentuated. We've got seating in the hut on the first floor as well, but it probably opens up only later in the day. There's one tent in the back. So the beverages just arrived, guys. I've got my hot chocolate in front of me. Give it a quick stir and then see what it tastes like. But at the first glance, the spoon is a bit different, you know. I think the metal is sort of lighter. It's made of brass, I believe. So it's a nice touch. Yum. That's some pretty fine chocolate. Not too dark. It's I would say 30-40% cacao. Yeah, and just as sweet as I would like. Although I tend to avoid sugar most times. Very good. Yeah. I can see sliced bananas all over. Some sliced apple, pomegranate, muesli, some nuts, blackberries, and a bit of green apple jelly, I believe. You can also see a few pumpkin seeds, flax seeds. Yeah, and let me dive into it after giving it a nice mix. Wow, it seems pretty thick. This smoothie has a good consistency. It's more like a thick gravy as opposed to juice. Nice and cold as well. Just what you need for this heat. That's yummy. It's a strawberry milkshake. I can taste some of the strawberry seeds in there, so it's fresh fruit for sure.
And I will try and guide you from patches of shade where there's a little bit less sunshine. So my name is Krishna and I've been living in Auroville for close on to 30 years now. I'm from England. and I was student in Jiddu Krishnamurti School in England. So I had a very different type of education, very privileged education. I was studying jazz guitar, and I was studying theatre. I was studying genetic engineering, actually doing research with my teacher who was from Stanford. And this is in the high school. It's a very eclectic high school. But I was also helping run the vegetable garden. That was one of my main jobs. So it was very, very diverse. And the guy who showed me the work in the vegetable garden, he lived in Auroville in the 70s and 80s, and he sort of, painted this picture of riding horses and building your own houses and growing your food and living in community. And I felt, man, that's going to be my life for sure. So I got like this premonition of my, Talavidi. So I just came here when I was 19, and it was an inner call actually. Like he inspired me a lot. Like this whole idea of yoga, that you could yoga is not just like some positions. Yoga is the possibility of an inner inquiry, to understand oneself, to find sort of a personal freedom, inner freedom. And so he showed me a bit those ideas. So I came very much with that sort of prayer in my heart. And while I was discovering all of this, I also discovered my guru, who is a Japanese agriculturist, a Japanese farmer called Masanobu Fukuoka. And he wrote a very famous book called The One Straw Revolution. So everything I show you today is from that book. It's from his teaching. I got the chance to be with him for 5 days actually, about 19 years ago in Vandana Shiva's farm in Dehradun. And he was a short little guy. He had a indigo kimono, a white beard, wooden chapels, and he didn't talk much. He was already 92. But one thing he did say to us, we were, sort of a group of devotees almost. We were like, with Fukuoka, it's like being with your guru. And but so one thing he did say to us, he said, only a fool will understand his relationship with nature. The clever mind, C++, put a car on the moon, Elon Musk, we put a buggy on the Mars, sending down, images and sound bites. That's a clever mind. It's like, wow, nanotechnology, microchip in the arm, AI. But there's no water left in Chennai. There's no water left in most of the metropolises in India. Now it's a little bit calm because we just had heavy rains. Everyone feels like, you don't think about it much. But that's a very, very serious situation. It's like a cookie jar. You have 50 cookies in a jar. You eat one, there's the last cookie, you eat it, there's no cookies left. That's what we're doing with water, with the food, with soil, with the air, with all resources that could be limitless. But the way man's industrialization is like a cancer, destroying the planet and destroying ourselves. The planet, the ecological problem is not out there and we are here. It's one problem. We erode well-being on every single level of our lives. If you look at our lives, we're suffering nutritionally. There's a nutritional, sort of genocide almost. We used to eat, I think there are over 200,000 edible plants on the planet. But if you ask people what do they eat, the main staples are maize, rice, corn and wheat. It's like ridiculous. We became very, very limited. And also if you ask people what vegetables they eat here, potato, carrot, beetroot, cabbage, cauliflower, those are the main ones. None of them grow here. So you are like, but if those vegetables don't grow here, then how do we have a culture with the Bharatanatyam and the Carnatic music? We have a very amazing music in Tamil Nadu, Carnatic music, ancient. We have oldest language in the world. It's 40,000 years old. The Sangam period poetry, the esoteric texts, the Nadi Jadagam. In India we have astrology to tell your future from your thumbprint. You can believe or not believe, but it's amazing, really. So this is culture is like a banyan tree. It's amazing culture. Like we come here, you and we like foreigners, like, wow, it's amazing culture. How that culture emerged? Because people had access to food that grew easily around them. That's the local food. So our relationship to local food is how culture emerged. The same in Germany. Germany has a very particular, you know, culture. There's music, there's handicrafts and language and poetry, philosophy, so much beautiful things, you know, from Germany. How that came? The people had access to food. If they didn't have food, they didn't have body. So our relationship with the land, with Mother Nature, which is best reflected in understanding where our food comes from, has been undermined through this vast industrialization. So this has nothing to do with organic farming. Even permaculture, natural farming, nothing to do with that really. This has to do with, this subject is called cultural redemption. We're trying to reclaim our cultural identity and our heritage through understanding the revaluing the foods that grow around us. So in Tamil Nadu, most Tamilians, they will still know that banana stem, banana flower, ragi and kambu, tenai, you know, all the kires, moratakan, tuduvale, and all these ponangani, all the different vegetables and fruits and foods that are the fabric of a culture. So when you say that to Tamilian, you say ponangani, they're like, ah yeah, ponangani, that's my culture. You know, like you say in Germany, something, I know, sauerkraut, yeah, that's our culture. You know, in England, we don't have a culture. Our culture is beer and football. We lost our culture. No, we lost our culture. And in Germany, in many places, it's also like that. But in some places, in villages, in Europe, in Italy, Portugal, South, you go, you still see, or the grandma have the aubergine, the katrikai, the uncle bring the olive oil, and this one bring the wine and the grapes, and they have this. And there's still this relationship with food, and you feel, at least I feel that when I went to south of Italy, I was like, oh, this is the subject. People are still alive. They still look you in the eye. There's still a sharing. There's still music, and there's something there. That's called culture. So cultural identity. So when we lose our cultural identity, we lost our relationship with Mother Nature. Fukuoka, he said that society that doesn't know where its food comes from is a society without culture. Humanity without culture will die. So this is really something very, very essential. So we're looking at local foods. That's what the subject is. Understanding the foods that grow around us locally. Those foods have particular characteristics. The first thing about local foods is they grow easily. So let's take something like moringa. Moringa, maybe you know, you don't know. In Germany, they will sell it in capsule, superfood. But moringa, right, is a tree that grows here. You know, you break off the stick, you plug in the ground, it grows. It's so easy. It's a joke. If you go and ask any villager, will you have the moringa in a capsule, they'll laugh at us, you know, or why are you doing that? You have to make a sambar, curry, and you have it with rice. It's very tasty. You know, it's the industrialization of mankind is very perverse because it's very tasty and very simple. Now, if you break off that stick and it grows outside your garden, it grows at his garden, on his, it grows outside everyone's garden. A few weeks ago, I had like some 50 school kids and I talked this subject. They all said, yeah, we all have it outside our houses. Like, everyone has it and they all eat it. That's why they still have a culture. And you start to understand that because it grows easily, there's no expertise. If there's no expertise, there's no machinery, there's no chemicals, there's not much water is needed to grow it. And because it grows everywhere, it's in abundance. Because it's in abundance, it's non-exclusive. So something that's non-exclusive has an adhesive effect in a society. Pizza, everyone's pizza. I like pizza. Good pizza, I love a good pizza, you know. Not every day, but sometimes. But pizza has a lot of ecological cost. It comes from very far away, the wheat, olive oil, all of these things. It doesn't grow locally. So pizza is exclusive. Only you get pizza if you have money. So poor person, they want to have pizza, but so it creates a dichotomy within a society, it creates a division. But muringa kere, drumstick spinach, beggar and a king can equally have drumstick spinach. And ironically, it's the best food for us as well. It's a UNESCO told it's superfood. That's why they put it in capsule. So all of these points, they point to the fact that local foods are really the foundation of any society. So why is it we've moved away from that? Because we monetized everything. Every single thing is monetized, you know. So I think that what Solitude Farm has come to represent, what the cafe, the function of the cafe, the function of the basket service that we run, the concerts, the festivals, the music events, You know, it's all trying to act as a, you know, as a road back to nature, to bring people back together over this one central subject that we all agree on. You see, you like A. Ragaman, I like Ilaiyaraaja. I'll fight with you. No, Ragaman's best. Ilaiyaraaja is best. You'll feel offended. You'll fight back. You are vegan. You know, vegan, you don't eat milk in this, but I eat meat. For this, you'll fight with me. Hey, vegan's better than eating meat. Man, what you are, you know, again, you like Sri Aurobindo, I like Sai Baba. They're two spiritual teachers. For this, very good fight. People will fight for ideology, ideals, opinion, belief, concepts. But you put Muringakiri in front of us, we'll both agree, it's very nice. So the local food becomes the lowest common denominator in a society. It becomes the one thing that we all agree on. Now there are many complex problems in the world to face, to understand. So if we face those, at least with one thing we all agree on, and that's our relationship with where our food comes from. Extract yourself from this sticky web of industrialization of food is very tricky thing. But if you can understand that concept of ecological cost, and that is that we eat 3 times a day, and mostly we don't know where our food comes from. This is the main contributing factor to climate change, is the food we eat. So if we ate local food, we undermine that. And the local food is all foods that we know about, you know, Muringakere, as I mentioned, you know, you are nodding your head, you know, Ponangani, Moratakan, all foods that you're familiar with. So imagine those kids, they grow up on the midday meal scheme, eating local foods. Climate change is undermined, but equally diabetes in 1 generation is eradicated. The health of the kids will be better. Nutritionally they'll be better. If their mind and body is better, emotion will be better, healthy society. And also farmers' job will be easy. So all of this is the most obvious thing that we should be doing. And yet we're not really focused on that, you know. So my work here is, how do we make this, how do we bring this on the table as a, you know, how do you get the local schools to eat this food? How do you get on a midday meal scheme? If we could do that, probably we'll tilt the balance in general, in the general collective consciousness, that this becomes a collective value. So that's the work at hand, I see, if we want to have a renaissance of well-being in our society. So if you like, I'll take you around the farm. I'll show you what we're talking about, because this is not just a talk, this is something very real at hand that we can actually look at. Okay, come. Stay in the shade. Come. The subject of permaculture becomes very boring when you're at 35 degrees. So everything starts with this story. This is the soil. If you look in here, you can see all this organic matter is decomposing. There's a lot of organic matter in here. Actually, it's a little hard to show you because it's so deep in here. But it's very hard to show you because it's so deep. But if you look at the soil in Solitude, it's really alive. There are millions of microorganisms, molds, bacteria, insects, earthworms, fungi, small animals, and the mycelium. The life in the soil is directly proportionate to the fertility of the soil. You could say that life equals fertility. And you could change those 2 words. Life, fertility, Mother Nature. In Europe, they call her Gaia. In South America, they call her Pachimama. In India, they have many names. One is Bhumidev. So this soil, if you like, is a divinity, you know. Upon this soil, all of this food forest emerges. There's over 200 edible plants that we eat throughout the year in Solitude, from millets and leaves and fruits and vegetables and roots and seeds and all sorts of different things. And that diversity expresses itself in the basket service, in the festivals, in the lunch scheme, in the cafe, in the education work that we do around the farm, because the food is a common need. You know, it's the most basic need that we have in a society. And this soil emerges from returning organic matter. So this is a very small module we did in a workshop recently. It was just looking like this, and I just wanted to show the people, like, imagine you had a space like this, and we just cut this. This is called mulching, no? Returning organic matter. If you just cut this mulching down really thickly, it will become a bed. It will become, within a few months, it'll become, and we can also open it. So we opened it and started planting bananas in here, and I think a few other things have have gone in here. They will come in pineapples and turmeric and different yams and turkey berry, the sundakai, and different plants will start to emerge. And this is will be like what we call a perennial hedge. So it'll be like a perennial plants that just make sort of a edible hedge. And yeah,
You have purposely laid this forest making.
we've done this purposely in a workshop. Yeah, we've done it purposely. It was this Mexican sunflower. Basically, I had my 3-day workshop where people come and they work. They want to learn how to start, So we were just showing this plant is a chop and drop plant. Chop and drop. And you're returning it back. So when it's so abundant like this, and you chop and chop and chop and chop, and it makes layers and layers, all of this will become healthy soil very quickly. And then there's no question of digging a bed and creating this. And this is so easy. Imagine you had bananas, you throw bananas there. I mean, there are bananas in here and there's papayas. Imagine you had a lot of cut grass, like in Germany. This is quite possible. You collect the grass, some people are cutting grass or leaves, and you maybe put 2 big logs to hold it in place, and you layer it. After some time it will become soil, and you plant into it some plants. The aim here the aim of this was to show people the ease at which you could start something. That was the point of this. It's a honeycomb, yeah, honeycomb. I don't know if I think the bees have all gone. Yeah, they've left it.
Yeah.
It's actually probably really good to eat. Yeah, it's gone now. The bees have disappeared.
And Amavasya comes, they say honey stays or doesn't stay. There is something like that. Full moon and all. See it? It is there.
Sometimes you got lots of bugs in them. And no, it doesn't taste much.
They say when new moon or full moon comes, it becomes empty.
Yeah,
One of those.
that's what's happened like that. It's very beautiful now. Look at that. It's a real hexagon. You pass it around. Keep hold of it, whoever has it last. Yeah, take care. Be in the shade. So, hi guys. Welcome. So I just came quickly through that area because it's a bit hot for people to be giving explanation in the heat there. But in those fields, there's a huge diversity of plants growing. I don't know if you watched. If you looked as you go through, there was turmeric and ladies' fingers, papaya, bananas, tomatoes, maize. Yeah, a lot of different things growing together. Everyone recognizes. And there is also a lot of weeds growing in there. There's a moritakan that we'll put. The moritakan is balloon vine. It'll go in the rasam today. It's very good for your articulations, for your elbows, for your knees. And there is a ponangani spinach. It's a spinach which is good for your eyes and for your skin. And there is a sangapu. That's a blue flower that you drank. It's good for women, for uterus. It's good for memory. There's lemongrass. There's black velvet bean, which is we make a coffee, a dopamine coffee, 4 to 7% L-dopa. Good for libido, good for Parkinson's, good for reverse diabetes, and tastes good as well. There's so many plants growing all together. Cluster beans and long beans and bitter gourd and bottle gourd and so many things are growing together. How we grow them together? Due to 2 basic parameters. The first parameter is the physiological difference. So some plants are tall, some plants are short. The maize is up, sweet potato is a carpet. It's a very basic, difference that you can perceive. So when you start to play with that, those are not clever things. That's something you'll observe in any forest. You'll see, there's tall trees, medium trees, creepers, carpet crops. That diversity of physiology you'll perceive in nature. So you're mimicking that. And then you start to see the time duration. So the time duration means there's long duration plants. Like if we start a farm tomorrow, first we'll plant fruit trees because they will take long time to grow. And then we will plant like medium duration crops, papaya, the tapioca, some of the yams, like the air potato, the vettali velikaringa, and also drumstick, agati spinach, papayas, all these things, they take about 10 months, 1 year. And then you'll go for shorter duration. The turmeric, the haldi, the manjal, and the sepenkelinga, that the taro, that's another type of yam. Things will take like 7 months. And then you come down to the more shorter durations, your pumpkins, your things like that. And then your shorter, the muli, the radish, and the spring onion. And then the spinaches. Within 4 weeks, you can harvest some of the spinaches. And then you have another group of plants, and those are the weeds. Those are the weeds, the
Excuse
things
me,
that...
spinaches, what is it in?
Spinach in Deutsch, things like this green, no, that you cook it like a Popeye, you know Popeye? Popeye, they
Yes,
say,
yes,
he eat
spinach,
this.
yes, yes.
Was ist das in Deutsch?
Spinach.
Spinach, okay. You
Spinach.
have to, you may make a little German, my words.
Thank you.
Yeah. So this, for example, is a really wonderful spinach in Tamil Nadu. It's a Solanium family, and it's called Manatakali. So Tamilians, they will know that. His generation, depending on his background, may or may not. You eat this?
Yes.
You eat this because you are Tamilian. But I know many Tamilians, they go to school, they go to college, iPhone, C++, they don't know this anymore. They lost that relationship. Mostly Tamilians, they will know that because it's very strong in the cultural background. But this plant is very tasty. We serve in the cafe, 80, 100 people. Everybody, oh wow, so nice. What's that? That's manatakali. It's a weed. We don't grow it. It grows on its own. Today in your salad, the fruit of the manatakali is there. It's a little blackberry. It's good for mouth ulcer. And it's very tasty. As you eat your salad, it's like little bowls of the pop of this joy, of this beautiful taste. So this is a really good example of a food that could go on a midday meal scheme. So each of those midday meal schemes would have to be very localized because this is growing here. In another place like Bengal, it will also grow, but maybe in another season. So it will always be a localized thing. If you keep looking at that midday meal scheme, you can see the other things like this ramphal. This also fruit should be there. This is growing like a weed. In the season, we are harvesting at least 200 kilo more, 250 kilo a week of this.
But normally that's very expensive.
Expensive. Expensive, but unnecessarily expensive because it's actually growing everywhere. If we put that, say, in every garden in Auroville, if we gave trees, imagine you and me, we work together for 6 months. We're gonna do all the logistics. Every tree goes to every villager. Everybody gets his tree. And farmers, we give the trees and this and maybe we find a way to make it work, We get involved people, seedlings once a week. There's got to be communication work, this, that, how to use it, recipes. We make a kulfi with this.
Very tasty.
Our kulfis are amazing. Kulfi is ice cream. And we put this with little coconut milk, little organic sugar, little cardamom, and put in the freezer. And you have a lolly, like, it's too good. It's really yummy. But we also give it as a fruit, and we also make smoothies with it. I make chutneys with this, just because there's so much of it. So I put this with peanuts and a bit of chili and some greens and
The
lemon.
ripe one. The ripe
Mixi.
one you put.
Ripe one, only ripe
Chutneys we
one.
don't
It's
know
like
this.
custard. It's so good.
Yeah.
So that's just one thing. But again, this is a weed. This is a weed. It's growing on its own. We don't grow it. Now, if you take a tamarind is also growing everywhere. It's growing to such an extent, people will be like, yeah, okay, tamarind, so what? But I'm interested in the tamarind leaves. You please try that. Have a taste. This one. Yeah. So the tamarind leaves, if you want to try, take the tender ones. Take tender ones. Always tender ones. The young ones. Yeah. So the tamarind leaves are very tasty to eat. And they're reverse. You're Tamilians, no? தெரியல சின்ன வயசுல அப்படி தான் ஸ்கூல் போகும்போது அப்படி புளித்தாரி தான் சொன்னல எல்லாரும் தெரியும். But you see, this tamarind leaf, we can make a dal with it. Tamarind leaf dal. It's well known in South India, especially Andhra Pradesh. And the tamarind leaf is reverse diabetes. Now imagine that you are someone in government or NGO or something. You have an action, power to act, and you get this on midday meal scheme, maybe once every 2 weeks. Tamarind dal. The kids, they know Wednesday afternoon they get tamarind, but they do it nicely, It's like well done, tamarind dal, tamarind leaf dal. And in one generation, diabetes is finished, eradicated. People say to me, this is insignificant. It's just on the road. How can you connect this with food sovereignty, with food security, with the food crisis? But if this addresses diabetes, it's massive. Now the problem with midday meal scheme, as far as I understand, is not enough money is invested per kid. So imagine that the money saved from the diabetes chronic, epidemic is invested back into midday meal scheme. How nice, no? We put this in chutneys, we put it in smoothies, we put it every day in the salad. It's amazing, and it's a simple thing. But you have to have relationship with the land. Just we have at home with the computer, C++, check my bank account, drive my Mercedes Benz, I got my iPad. That's possible, but you got to also have this. That is not above this. This is first. This is weed. We didn't grow this.
No, because the trees are normally bigger, right?
Young tree.
Yeah, this is
Young tree.
So it still has to
Young
keep
tree,
growing.
young tree. But it's just a weed.
Okay.
All the things I'm showing you are just weeds, You take this palm tree. Palm tree also is just growing like that. Panamaram. Number Manila Maram Dalla Panamaram. Everyone will know. And all the Tamil boys in your age, you're all going around on the bike early morning and evening, and they're going and they're taking nungu now. Nungu is the palm fruit. They cut it. It's not a fruit, it's a vegetable. It's prior to being fruit. And they eat it like a coconut. It's like mucousy. And everyone loves it, these guys, I tell you, surely they love it. It's a part of a culture, nungu. So the people still eat nungu. But palm fruit, panaparam, sapriya, mandachi konjadalla. So palm fruit people forgotten a little bit. Some people will know still. It depends the background. If you're from village or this or that.
Are you talking about kuchikalam?
No, that's Maravilli. I'm talking about the palm fruit here. This palm maram, the palm tree, right in front of you.
I have a very good collection.
Huh?
I have a big.
So the fruit, as it falls to the ground like this here, additional module that we teach, and again you have this all the organic matter in a trench, and then the organic matter also covering the bed. And in the middle we have a fruit tree, long duration. On the side we have short duration, medium duration, the papaya, banana. I think there's also taro, sepen kelenga planted in there. And then you have your sort of shorter durations again. There's the rosella. And then there's other crops like the capsicum, there's some tomato, there's some cluster beans. And tapioca is also a longer duration crop. So these tomatoes will get forgotten here. And some basil spinach, some basil, some chicken spinach. So if you imagine that you're a school teacher and you start to have that as, it's like how you might have that as just as a part of the life in the school, every day, 15 minutes. Maybe you have 5 or 6 of them and different kids take care of them. But then from here you do your biology class. From here you do a part of your art class. From here maybe you can even find poetry and literature. And maybe even economics could be looked at in here, and health and nutrition. So many things can be learned about by actually doing this. But the kids have to harvest and cook at least once a week. Otherwise the circle's not complete. It stays cerebral. We cannot afford to just have, it's a garden class from 2 to 3 on a Tuesday afternoon. That doesn't make sense. It has to be something that's much more integrated. And the more you go into it, you say this rosella here, which is a very delicious plant. You please try that. You can try that. You know it, so if you like. So the rosella leaf we put in smoothie, we put in salads, we put in chutneys. We make a curry from it as well. Yeah, this is cool. And we also use the fruit to make a juice and a jam. And then we use the flour to make a sherbet. Then the seed, we make a coffee substitute. It tastes like Horlicks. Flour you can make a sherbet. And then the seed you make tastes like Boost actually, with coconut milk. Yeah, you can order in the cafe if you like. Rosella flower coffee, we call it. A rosella leaf seed coffee. And the stem is used to make a rope. The rope they used to lift granite with, probably in temples back in the day. High tensile rope. So you see that plant, like the banana, banana flower, banana stem, banana leaves, banana. Mother Nature wants to offer this much to us, but we only want to take carrots, beetroot, tomato, and they don't even grow here. That surprises me. Come, let's go this way. This tree is 10,000 times more effective in the treatment of cancer than chemotherapy. You don't eat it raw, but you smell it. You can smell it. So we have a lady, she has advanced breast cancer, stage 4. And she's been having this for 6 months. 21 leaves every day she takes. I don't know why 21 and not 22, don't ask me. And she boils it in 400 ml water, reduces it to 200 ml and drinks it every day.
What's it called?
Soursop, graviola, Laxman fal, Hindi mein. In Tamil they're calling it muluchita. It's sitafal, ramfal, that bullock heart, that attaparam, and this is muluchita. So this guy is an amazing juice it makes, and it's tasty. You know, if it was difficult and not nice, you'd be like, oh man, I'll have the cancer. You know, it's like, but it tastes good. You boil it, you put lemon, it's nice taste. And the fruit is the champagne of all the fruits. The fruit is divine. You know, it tastes a big sort of pineapple and guava with a sort of hint of apple and strawberry. You know, it's very lovely. This is Giloy, Guduchi. You know Guduchi, Giloy? Amritam Kodi. It's a nectar of immortality, they say in Ayurveda, no? So if someone offers you the nectar of immortality, you think, wow, thank you, you know, it's very nice. Have we lost our ingredients? And this is a tipali. The tipali is the very ancient plant in India. You know, a lot of things are like chili, tomato, potato, peanut. They're not from India. They're from South America in the 17th century, according to what I've been told. But tipali is truly an Indian plant. Tipali is mentioned in the Sangam period poetry. They compare it to Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, no? Tipali sukku milugu. You learned about it in high school, no? So if you take the peppers, which I don't know if you can see now, yeah, there's some very immature ones there, but they're kind of black and they're, you know, if you look you might see, but it's sort of been harvested here already. So you take equal amounts of the black pepper, the long black pepper, and then mix it with black pepper and dry ginger and smash it and make a kashayam with that, and you drink that. It's very good for your detox, for your respiratory system, for COVID. They're saying it's good in COVID, you know. It's an amazing plant. So this is called Piper longum in Latin, as opposed to Piper nigra, which is the normal black pepper. And that grows in the shade, which is another quality of local plants. You know, like we mentioned, you have all these different parts of the plant can be used. That's another quality of local plants. The movement away from an industrialization. You go to the industrialization, you go in the shop, you only get a banana. You don't get, you know, all the diversity. And the more industrialized the foods, like a carrot, what do you get? You get a carrot, that's all there is. But you go to the field and you always get this diversity of usages from the plant. And so that's one of the values of local food. And the other value is that many of these things are growing in the shade. So when you create a food forest with papaya, banana, drumstick, the fruit trees, this and that, there's definitely a loss of light, sunlight. You have to work on planning of how to maintain your sunlight. But when you don't have sunlight, there's still a lot of things you can do, like the turmeric, pineapples, the elephant foot yam.
Turmeric's comes in shade.
Very good in shade, yeah. Very good in shade. Also in light, but semi-shade you can manage perfectly fine. And this does in a full shade, typically. So yesterday I had a little meeting with my community garden group. I run a sort of community garden group. I mean, I'm sort of pushing people in Auroville for many years to do gardens. And I go to some of their gardens, I see that it's very linear, their approach. Like I went now and you know, you see the bed is sort of finished. There's a few things left on the bed. And the problem is they're going only for one crop. So there's one tomato is finished, the bed is empty. When you put tomato or brinjal, next to it should be turmeric. In between the turmeric and the turmeric is more basil spinach. And in between that should be corn, and around it should be bananas with some papaya and this and that. And it's the same in these fields as well. This field has come to an end now. it looks like just a bunch of weeds. But actually brinjals, this was all radish, very productive radish. So because it was radish, it was one crop, because that's the way radish is. You need to like focus on, you don't just do one radish, radico. Radicio, in Italiano radico.
Thank you.
But I don't know in Deutsch. Meine Deutsch ist nicht gut.
Radieschen?
Irgendwie sowas anderes.
Nein, Radicchio ist was anderes. Radicchio ist so eine Art.
It's white and long and really spicy.
Radicchio.
Yeah,
ja.
Redditch.
Nicht sprechen Sie Deutsch. Der Sonnenschein ist in der Himmel. Hey, der Magen auf der Hund ist voll. Das ist meine Deutsch. Ist fertig.
Which one is turmeric?
Turmeric is this one. Yeah, curcuma. Yeah. But you can see this field looks like finished now, and I admit it's much more linear than this field because it only has 2 crops in it. But there are brinjals in these trenches here, and these brinjals, when it gets weeding now, these brinjals will come. So what we'll do now is we'll take amaranth and some sand, because it's very tiny seed. So you need to mix it with something so it doesn't all drop in one. And we'll sow amaranth here, and we'll do a weeding. And the amaranth will be the next crop, but the brinjals will be growing up still. So you always have these 2 crops at once. I mean, as those fields over there is at least 4 main crops. The spinach crop,
Was ist es?
plants.
Crop, plant.
Plants, like
Yeah,
this is a
yeah.
crop, this is a crop.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
you know, there are at least 4 crops. There's the turmeric, there's the brinjals, the basil, the spinach. But in the other one there was also the amaranth. The amaranth, why? Because it's short duration. The turmeric is much longer. In between is the brinjal and the tomato. And then you play with the structure, the physiology. One is tall, one is short, one is creeper. So like that, your field will always be full. If you don't give good water, forget all those ideas. It won't work. In this heat, if you don't water, it's not going to happen. So don't be too romantic about permaculture and all this. It should be practical. In this heat, you have to water. But if you water, you can have crops like this and radish still in this season. But if you don't water, it's not going to happen. So those are the basics have to be accomplished. If the basics are there, and you can start to create this sort of multi-dimensional, cropping, intercropping, you will create like a microclimate, and that extends your season as well. Turmeric, so many things come on their own. So those things are the best things for us to eat.
What is it? Yellow?
That's a lady's finger.
Oh,
Yeah,
what is
hibiscus
it?
family. Different variety. We have about 4 or 5 varieties of lady's finger. We have silver queen, which is white without edges. It's smooth. We have hill variety, short and fat and reddish. Then we have pure red. We have Assamese giant, which is like that, which is takes about 4.5 months to grow, and it's 3 meters high. Then we have the standard lady's finger, and 1 or 2 others as well, even elephant foot, elephant tusk is like this big. The crazy lady's fingers. We always have different varieties of everything. Tomatoes as well, brain tomato. This is your standard country tomato. We have Podlin pink, pink egg. Then we have a yellow one with a black sort of head. And we have yellow cherry, yellow pear, red cherry, red pear, red medium. Then brain tomato, looks like a brain. So many tomatoes. There's all sorts of diversity. That's the calling card of Mother Nature. So by honoring diversity, we honor the gifts of Mother Nature, and we address food security. You can't address food security by putting all your eggs in one basket, you know. You put all your thing on wheat, soy and milk and this and that, you know, what's that, corn and soy and rice. Surely there's going to become a food crisis, and especially if it's then dependent on chemicals and fossil fuels and all. But being simple, we'll address well-being. Somehow we don't want to, because we're convinced by young age that you have to study more, you have to be the best in the class, you have to get better results, because there's only 5 places in MIT and you have to get it because you are my daughter and you have to succeed. And God knows, man, what a nonsense. We are corrupting we don't have to do that. We can be well. Why can't we be well by understanding the heritage of these foods that our grandparents knew, that are the reason why we have such an incredible country, and and history and culture and traditions. If we lose them, it's because we lost our food relationship with food. That's for sure. Let's go this way.
Very good.
Yeah, it's like that. No, I mean the world is like that. No?
Das den Baum nicht. Is it a mango tree?
No, this is called a sleepy face tree.
Yeah. Sleepy face tree.
Tungumunji.
So you can eat the fruit.
No, this you can eat the fruit. This is a weed that's growing in between. Yeah. This you can eat the fruit. This is a chiku. Yeah, that you can eat. But yeah, it's two different
Yes,
trees.
okay.
Yeah.
Zwei Bäume in einem.
So, you know, that's basically what the farm is about. It's about returning organic matter as the most important technique. And if you return organic matter, you're honoring Mother Nature because she is the soil. She is the heart of our planet. And then she has all these gifts. So we have to eat those gifts. We have to value those gifts, which all our cultures traditionally did. I have friends in Bruxelles, Karlsruhe.
Yes, I'm born there.
You're from there?
Very
Nearby.
close.
Yeah, so you know, they're making all this souffle, you know, these juices and storing their apples and making preserves. It's a lot of work, but they have good food. When you sit down in their house and eat, you're like, oh, this is really good food. But they are engaged in that, you know. Mostly we don't have time anymore. So you start to see that time is our currency. Not the euro, not the rupee, it's the time. How much
Yes.
time we give. If I want to know you and value you, really I have to give time to relationship. Spend time and listen to you and hear you. But we don't have time. So if we don't give time to this subject, how are you going to value these different things? So I think that's the really important thing. So it starts with eating. The most important thing in this subject is to eat. Eat this food. And if you eat this food, then you can consider to start to grow some of this food. Even if you live in an apartment, you can have a pot with some, you know, Moratakan or Tuduvali or some of these plants, you know, the traditional Tamil foods. And then you make a point. Once a week I'll eat that. You know, once a week I'll eat this. So maybe alone it's boring. Maybe alone it's difficult. But Friday afternoons you call your buddies from the work, from Infosys or wherever you're working, you know, and you say, guys, 5 o'clock we meet and we're going to sit together half an hour. We put the loud music and we open the banana flower together. It takes 1 hour. We open it together. Everyone, they'll have a drink, they'll have a smoke, they'll have this and that. But sit down and do this together. You know, this is also a thing to sit down and do something together, you know. So, you know, open the banana flower and, you know, prepare it, cook it together, eat the dinner together. Call the friends. Food is an adhesive, you know. If any of you are interested more in this work, I do workshops. Wednesday morning I do a workshop, 10:30 to 12:30. Again, it's Introduction to Permaculture through Local Foods. Fridays we have soap making workshop. We teach how to make soap because we want to show people the water is important to be valued, to recycle the water. So we use all the, you know, things like tamarind leaf, papaya seeds, hibiscus flowers, neem leaves, all in the soap. And we also then show how we recycle that water with the soap, and we also show how to make bioenzyme as well. It's a very simple soap which you can use for your toilets, your floors, your pots, even your clothes. And yeah, Café is open every day, so I think we'll wrap it up. The food is better than my talk, so please stay, please stay and eat, because then you really know what I'm talking about. Today there is Moratakan rasam, there is a sambar, there is a spinach poril with amaranth, which is really yummy, and there is another mixed vegetable with plantain and brinjal, and there's a chutney, and there's dosa, and then there's a farm salad. So I hope you stay and eat.
I have one more question.
Tell me,
please.
sir.
The thing with the soap and cleaning the water and also cleaning
Yes.
everything, is it something belongs to effective microorganism?
I mean, the EM is
EM?
the bioenzyme is very much in that way. Yeah, I mean, the EM for me is a good thing. It's a very good thing, but I feel that we should teach things that anyone can access. EM you have to buy the starter, no? So this bioenzyme is what's good about it is anyone can do it, you know.
It's fermented, so it does.
It's a fermented thing, so it will have some. I mean, I don't know the exact ingredients of EM. It's a secret, no. How to make it? Yeah, but it's a good thing, very good thing. As is vermiculture, you know, to make the earthworms. It's a very good thing. But if you go, I mean, I didn't stop and show you, it was a little hot. But if you dig in our soil, any place where it's moist, you will see earthworms. How we got it? We return organic matter. We don't have to complicate things. We have to do the simple thing that nature does. That's what I feel. Not that those things aren't good and not that those things don't have a place. They surely have a place. But we don't have to become dependent on those things, because we should find a system where nature is, you know, creating her own nutrition and sustainability.
Yeah, the thing is with the EM, one of the main idea is that the organic material doesn't fire, also nicht verbrennt. That's Sauerstoff. Was is Sauerstoff? Sauerstoff, you know. Oxygen. The idea is to keep out the oxygen and have the fermentation possibilities, so the organic material doesn't fall together or get burnt by oxygen.
I don't know enough about it. Really. I can't answer you. All I know,
no problem.
Yeah, all I know is that the things that we do are easy.
Yes,
The things we do are simple, and from this thing, valuing these weeds, this has happened. That I know. But doesn't mean those things aren't also good. But I can just say the things that we're doing are simple. And I think that simplicity is also the takeaway. Timon in a garden has developed, because his ideas are same like mine. His is more organized. I mean, he's a German guy. I'm not German. But he's more organized, but the same spirit is there.
Yeah.
His spirit is love than Mother Nature. She is a god.
Okay.
And it's very nice, his work. Yeah, he's a great gardener. Yeah.
You would like to meet him?
Yeah, meet him. Go and meet him. Go to the Matri Mandir and just go the watchman and say, I want to meet Kartik. Yeah, gardener, head gardener. We are from his village.
Okay.
You tell like
Thank
that
you.
and he will organize.
Thank you for the
All
contact.
is clear, yeah.
That's clear.
Okay, guys, thank you so much. Come, let's go.
Thanks, Krishna. The smaller one is better or big one?
You have the size,
Ha.
that much only.
Similar one. Okay.
If you have little bit cutting, it's fine.
Like this?
That's how it is, yeah. So, to know the thickness, this is the right one.
Okay, it's already cut.
Yeah, this is already broken one, so we can choose that one. Then you have to, what size you want, we will make you shape that one.
Oh, okay.
There is a roughness, so you have to sand it. So you have to move like this way.
So that will become smooth, the top part.
So you have to make it smoother, and when you do the full, after you have to same this way. Not that
The trains have to be straight
Okay.
only. So here is the power arm. I'll show one piece of this one. So you want to line
Huh.
the line.
Line and then in between the lines that
Yeah.
cut design.
So what I do, I supporting the wood here.
Okay.
It is make a straight line. This is a straight line. Yeah.
Okay. So this you have to adjust.
This is how to adjust like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you have like I show one piece, you have a straight line. Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you put too much force also it will get cut.
Yes. It is not so much you don't have to do. Otherwise it will go.
Okay.
If you have gently, you just cut. You just put it on and it run away. No? That's only. Yeah.
No pressure.
No pressure. You don't have to pressure. It will just guide the line only.
Okay.
Then you have to do this corner.
Touch up.
Then it's clean more smooth.
Okay.
After that, we'll do inside.
In between the lines we can do anything?
Between lines we can do, but where is the brown line? No, like not dark one, light one. So the light one only we will do like
Okay.
just
Okay.
touch only, not a full. Otherwise it will make it
Even.
smooth.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. After that we will buffing here. Then changing like a finishing that one.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to do full things in red wheel.
This is the last step?
This is the last step. Then we have to tight with the rope and all. Yeah.
Okay. For pendant this is the
This is the last one.
Okay. Sure.
Please not scratch your pentance. So where you have the wax, you clean with this.
Okay.